a wild Sports Illustrated, Fox Sports 1 College Football Insider. First of all, that was crazy. That was a wild weekend. Much of it we saw coming, much of it we did not. How shocked are you at Notre Dame's loss? I'll just say this. I love Mark Richt. Is year two, they look like they can play with anybody. How surprised are you with Miami's elevation?
I'm pretty stunned, to be honest, because Manny Diaz, the defense coordinator, has got them playing really good. All this stuff about the turnover chain, they got some guys now who can play. But what's crazy to me is you look at what they did just a couple weeks ago before they played Virginia Tech, before they played Notre Dame. They barely beat a 1-8 North Carolina team. I mean, they were struggling with some of these mediocre teams. Then they showed up big time against Virginia Tech in a real good atmosphere. And then I think all the doubters, including probably us to some degree.
I didn't buy it. I said 2 weeks ago, I said, they're like Clemson last year. I'm like, you're beating marginal teams by a field goal. Like, you're a year away. Their last 2 weeks, wow.
Miami's whole vibe has a chip on its shoulder. It's been that us against the world back to the Schnellenberger days, and obviously with Jimmy and Dennis Erickson. They picked up on that, especially the fan base, but everyone around the program picked on it. Nobody's giving us credit. We're fraudulent, all this other stuff. And they punched Notre Dame in the mouth. I mean, if you're looking at Notre Dame, you're going, oh my God, the last two times they've been down in South Florida for big games, they've been outscored 55-0 in the first half between this and that Alabama game. But it's a feeding frenzy with the turnovers. And I give Malik Rozier, the young quarterback, a lot of credit. He has played well. They have pretty good skill guys. But I don't think anybody knows a ton about, the Miami offense. Amon Richards, a good receiver, young, when I talked to guys in that program at the start of the year, they were like, skill-wise, we have some good players. We just don't have enough of them yet. They thought they were like a year away.
They did.
But now you see it's like, hey, these guys look like they're ready. Now, can they beat Clemson down the road? Can they handle this now that all of a sudden everybody's starting to pile on the bandwagon a little bit?
Okay, I'm going to call this on a Monday morning my Great Eight, but wait. These are the 8 teams to your left I still believe can get into the playoff. Now, you're going to look up and down and say, yeah. Whoa, Ohio State. Okay, if they beat Michigan, if they beat Wisconsin, all those teams above them play each other, right?
I'm with you on Ohio State. We just had them against Michigan State. And not only they beat them, they blew them off the field. And the thing Ohio State has of all those teams, if you'd say, and I don't want to say this is the Vegas factor, but if they play at their potential, that is a big if.
Yeah.
Because they did not look ready, and they did not have adjustments when they played an unranked Iowa team. And you're going to say, well, they were blown out twice, including once at home to Oklahoma early in the year, and then again just a couple of weeks ago to Iowa, who's unranked. So do they deserve to be in? I think this is the kind of year where we get a 2-loss team.
By the way, I'm for Auburn. I watched Auburn play Georgia. I think Auburn's defensive line is frighteningly good. I think Auburn's going to beat Alabama. Alabama's missing 4 starters. You know this. You can run on Alabama now.
Yeah, LSU did that. LSU went toe-to-toe with them. And this is the thing, Darius Geis is a heck of a back. LSU went toe-to-toe with them, starting 2 true freshman offensive linemen.
Wow.
And it's not like you're going to be scared of Danny Etling, doing damage downfield. I think that showed some of the weaknesses where it's almost like, hey, when you see the, Predator, when he gets bloodied, it can bleed. I think you saw that again with Mississippi State. And the way Auburn is playing, not just the D-line, the defense is really good. Kerryon Johnson is coming out of nowhere to make a run at the Heisman. If he looks like he did against Georgia, against Alabama, and then they get Georgia again, I mean, these are supposed to be great defenses. Watch out. He could be the running back. Of all the other running backs we were talking about, Saquon and Bryce Love, he could be the one who could springboard and push Baker Mayfield.
Bruce Feldman joining. Okay, this is where I say Alabama has figured it out. They play Mercer 3 times. They put a bye before a big game. They never.
Florida State's not Mercer. Florida State was legit,
but it was a non-roadie. They're brilliant about this. So here's Alabama's schedule. If they can't beat Auburn, what is their big road win? Mississippi State. Ohio State's going to have several big wins.
Yeah.
Are we sure? Listen, I'll throw this at you. This is crazy, Bruce. Every single year, my staff looked it up this morning. The first is there an SEC bias? The first poll the committee releases every year, there's been 2 SEC teams, 1 year 3. We've never ended up with more than 1. There is this sense that, Alabama's great. Why?
Well, it's a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy because at the top end of the food chain, they did win a bunch of national titles in a row. So it's like you get the benefit of the doubt. But your scheduling point, I would say, translates over to everybody else is playing three non-conference games. They're playing 4, which means usually that's an added cupcake. Well, why can they do it? Well, because they can fill out the stadiums. They'll still get decent TV numbers.
Right.
And because they're the SEC, because they're going to be in the playoff most likely. Whereas if you're the Big 12 and now the Pac-12, you need all the help you can get to make sure you get in. And I think because Nick Saban and Alabama have done such an amazing job over that stretch, that gives them the benefit of the doubt. And you know what? I'll take up for them. You know, at least they schedule Florida State. Now,
At least they did.
Yeah, Florida State has stunk this year, but nobody thought they were going to stink. Their starting quarterback went down. They've had a bunch of injuries, and they've melted down. But Florida State is a heavyweight program. You schedule a heavyweight program. They've scheduled one good one out of the 4.
Be nice if they'd be willing to go on the road for one of those. Ohio State goes to Norman, Oklahoma. Ohio State's going to Notre Dame. Georgia went to Notre Dame.
Oh, look, Oklahoma, Texas, some of these, USC have done it.
They go on the road.
No question. But, I mean, would you look at Alabama differently if instead of saying, hey, they picked up Florida State, instead they said, oh, we're going to go to Chapel Hill and play North Carolina. They're usually pretty good. Or we're going to go to Cal. I mean, those teams would be no match for Nick Saban's team. So I'll play devil's advocate. Home or neutral site. I mean, I'd rather have them play a legit top 10 team than somebody who's a Power 5.
Here's your top 4. This is Bruce Feldman's top 4. Read it to me.
All right, starting with Alabama. I know they don't have a great resume at this point, but they did beat a good Mississippi State team on the road. I'll give them that. Miami, last 2 weeks, they have blown out Virginia Tech and Notre Dame.
At home.
It is. Look, but they have no losses.
Okay.
That's a better resume than what Wisconsin has with no losses.
Okay.
Oklahoma, to me, they lost to a pretty good but not a great Iowa State team. But nobody has 3 better wins than Oklahoma. They went to Ohio State and blew them out, beat a very explosive Oklahoma State team on the road, and then beat a good TCU team.
I agree. And Clemson, just sitting in the bushes here.
Yeah, Clemson, by the way, does have a good win that's looking better and better over Auburn early in the year. So
everybody, it's really funny about this because we have the Big Ten football, but we also have Pac-12 football and Big 12 football. Here's I said before the year, Ohio State matches up with Alabama in the trenches. And this is what drives me crazy. I'm always going to give programs that will schedule a tough road game a break. I have so much respect for Ohio State. They'll go to Oklahoma. They'll go to Texas. They'll go to Notre Dame. Georgia historically never goes on the road out of conference, but they went to Notre Dame. Tip of the cap to Georgia. Mm-hmm. That takes guts. There's a big chance you're going to lose. All right, now we got to throw this out real quick. Florida, Tennessee, John Gruden, Chip Kelly. All right, Bruce Feldman. First of all, is Gruden coming back to college coaching?
My hunch is probably not. I do think there's a lot of people there who would like to throw a lot of money at him, but he's already making a lot of money.
$6 million.
And he also doesn't have to deal with all the NCAA stuff. He's never been a college head coach.
Good point.
There's a lot of hassles there that I think, and he's familiar with some of the issues that Tennessee has, both positive and negative, because he knows Butch Jones. Those guys have spent a lot of time together. My guess is, and I don't know where Chip Kelly wants to be. To me, he's really the biggest free agent out there. One big at Oregon. I don't think whatever the NCAA baggage that he would have, that there's a rule in the SEC that you have to have Greg Sankey, the commissioner's blessing. I'm told that would be a non-issue. Don't worry about that. It's the question is, does Chip Kelly want to be in the fishbowl that you would have in the SEC? Bigger fishbowl and kind of mayhem and madness in Knoxville than there is in Gainesville, and a lot of talent in Gainesville. Who knows? I mean, is he a guy who could end up at Nebraska if UCLA comes open, if Arizona? But those are big ifs on those two Pac-12 schools.
Okay, one more thing. USC, Sam Darnold. We can roll tape. I just like watching Sam Darnold play. He looked very good this weekend. T. Martin, his offensive coordinator, was asked after the game, is he ready for the NFL? And T. Martin said, oh, yeah, he can play in the NFL. I'm looking at the draft order now. It's Cleveland. It's the New York Giants. It's San Francisco. Your sources on Sam Darnold. What is your gut? Because by the way, you live here.
I do,
You live in USC territory at the beach, Manhattan Beach. Okay, what do your sources say? Here is, they call it the suck for Sam, the Darnold's team standings. What do you think?
I think that he is going to wait it out and go, you know what? In the long run, my development is better if I am here maybe for one more year. He's played behind a patchwork offensive line. That should get better next year. A lot of young receivers. That should get better. I think the situation holds up well for him to spend another year. Wherever he goes into the NFL, he's probably going to go to a bad franchise.
Look at this, though. New York Giants. They don't have a winnable game on that schedule, Bruce Feldman.
Yeah, but it's all right. So he's going. Does he really want to be in New York City?
Marr family's very respectable.
I'm not saying about the organization wise, but let's think about Sam Darnold and what we know of him. Do you think he really cares that much to be in the Big Apple?
No.
I don't think that
Josh
appeals to him.
Rosen may. Darnold doesn't.
Yeah, there you go. I don't think Sam Darnold, and maybe some people are putting this in his head or trying to put it in his head. I don't think he looks and goes. Now Cleveland is a little bit, they've been kind of a tormented franchise. But some of these other, I don't think he looks and goes, okay, this is a situation. I don't think he's going, wow, I could go to New York City and be a star.
Not who
I don't
he
think,
is.
I don't think that's in him. And I think a lot of the speculation you're hearing is probably from people who are close to him, not from him. My gut is he may stay for another year because he knows they could be probably a lot better next year.
I agree with you. Good seeing you, bud.
Thank you.
Bruce Feldman, totally connected. Buying tickets to sports and concerts is complicated. There's a better, simpler way. It's called SeatGeek, and it's just two taps. All right, you want some big names this weekend? Redskins are at the surprising Saints. NFC East, you got Eagles at the Cowboys. Pull out the SeatGeek app, 2 taps. They save you time and money. They search the ticket sites. They compare prices. They grade every ticket. All you have to do is shop with confidence. The SeatGeek app, $20 off your first purchase. Download the app, enter the promo code HERD, H-E-R-D. The promo code